For the third time in a row, Hong Kong authorities have cancelled the memorial service for the victims of the Tiananmen Square massacre in Beijing. As in the previous 2 years, a candlelight vigil on the anniversary of the bloody crackdown on June 4th in 1989 was prohibited. Police officers patrolled and cordoned off Hong Kong's Victoria Park on Saturday. For quite a long time, the Special Administrative Region was the only place in China where the victims of the Tiananmen massacre could be commemorated. Tens of thousands of people usually took part in the big candle service in Victoria Park. In the summer of 2020, however, Beijing introduced a harsh security law for Hong Kong. Since then, the vigil has not been allowed. After weeks of demonstrations and hunger strikes against corruption and for freedom of expression and democracy in the spring of 1989, the communist leadership called in the People's Liberation Army to put an end to the protests in Beijing. The military action, which killed several hundred people, is a politically taboo topic in China. The Chinese leadership does not allow public discussion or commemoration of the anniversary. Unlike China, democratic Taiwan commemorated the victims. Taiwan's President Tsai Ing-wen lamented on the lack of an official vigil in Hong Kong on Saturday. Memories of the crackdown are being systematically removed from society's collective memory, they wrote on Facebook. Beijing experienced 7 weeks of hope in the spring of 1989. The death of the Chinese reformer Yu Yaobeng sent an unexpected mass movement in motion. Thousands of students took to the street demanding democracy and freedom of the press. Day by day, more people were joining, and the student movement was becoming a people's movement. From June 3rd, the unbelievable happened, though. The Chinese military brutally suppressed the protests on Tiananmen Square. On June 4th in 1989, the Chinese army brutally crushed student protests on Beijing's Tiananmen Square, though. After weeks of peaceful protests demanding political change and measures against state corruption, soldiers and tanks used violence against the demonstrators. It is still unclear how many people really were killed. Everybody's talking about hundreds. Amnesty International speaks of several hundred to several thousand victims. The communist leadership in Beijing is making every effort to erase the massacre from collective memory. There is no information in history books, and references to it are being deleted from the Chinese internet and also online platforms. Discussion of what happened is practically forbidden. For decades, the Hong Kong Special Administrative Region, apart from Macau, was the only place in China where a commemoration of the death of Tiananmen was still tolerated. As I said, until 2 years ago, tens of thousands of people traditionally commemorated the death of the massacre with a vigil in Victoria Park. But I'm also making this video so the rest of the world will never forget what happened on Tiananmen. And I'll see you in my next video. Bis gleich.